Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AKAAWOL, and today we're back with part two of our making the 20998 mod in pink for our friend I'm Not a Girl. I don't know why she goes by that name. She is obviously very much a girl or a woman, I guess. So yeah, we're going with the part two of this. So yeah, let's do it. Okay, let me mark off these. There we go. Yeah, we're almost through the second segment here. There's 4 of them. There we go. So that's the last long orange, or the, not orange, bright pink long row. So yeah, this original pattern was, I think it was just like, yeah, it was 12 strings. And that would mean there would be 6 strings going into the braid, which means you don't get to do a kumi. And it would be really kind of tiny. It would be cute. I'm not gonna, hate on the pattern that whoever went to the trouble and made it or whatever. They made a cool pattern, but adding a little bit to it, for me, really kind of made the pattern a little bit better, because now I have a fun kumi at the top of it, because you need at least 8 strings to make a kumi. I don't know if you guys knew that, but you do. Yeah, it's 8 is the absolute bare minimal. So yeah, this has got the cool kumi loop. My wife made it. I don't know if you guys have seen the video already, but I've actually made a video to explain how to do the kumi loops yourself. It doesn't take a whole lot. You need the kumi disc. You need something to work as a bobbin to keep the strings together that are the other half of your bracelet, because you put the kumi like right smack dab in the middle of all your floss. And yeah, it's a neat thing. It really is. And it's so incredibly easy. I can do kumis. I was doing kumis like the day that I first kind of discovered them or whatever. It's like, oh, this is, you just do this, and it's just repetitive. And it's kind of like what I already do with my knots. It's just the same things repeating. Super simple, but it adds something to the bracelet. I mean, if you've seen people who just like leave plain old loops or whatever, like that's kind of sloppy. And then you see people who do just a regular plain old braid. That's a little bit better. Then you see people who do like the macrame over the strings. Maybe that's just a little bit better still. With the kumi, that's that top level stuff. That's where it really shows, that you've got it together and you're doing something cool. I also have a video. Let's say you're going to do a bracelet with like 10 or 14 strings. That is not the normal amount for doing a kumi, and it will definitely kind of show up kind of weird compared to the other ones, like the regular 8, 12, 16. Basically it goes up by 4 each time. Those ones, you can actually map them out. There's a thing on friendshipbracelets.net that you can go and you can actually work out what will the kumi look like based on the number of strings, right? But you can't do 10s and 14s, but I have a video for that. So if your bracelet is like 20 strings coming down, so it's 10 going into the loop, there is a way of actually making a kumi for it. It won't, the pattern will keep kind of slowly drifting because of the way that it uses its colors, but it still looks really pretty. It still looks really, really nice. So you could check out that video. That's a good one. Okay, let me see where I'm at. That's all of those. This is there. So yeah. I don't know about you guys, I'm enjoying this. It's kind of a, there's something about once the camera is recording that causes my attention to get very, very focused. And let's see, this is to there. We can hold off on that for a second. We can do the other side. There's something about the way my focus gets into this that actually, I don't know, it kind of helps. It's kind of therapeutic to me. So I really am hoping that you guys enjoy this kind of videos. Like I said, you guys could nod along with me, so yeah. There we go. So yeah, still, like I said, every knot is looking at the pattern and saying, okay, is this, you know, the pink goes to the white comes out this other side, okay, done. It's a never-ending trying to make sure that everything is right. Okay. So we're back to that little thing that does where the red will come in again. This little area is a little bit counterintuitive. It doesn't, just the way it kind of zigzags and puts in a little extra whatever, it just kind of throws me off every time. That's why I have to like look at the pattern as much. Honestly, when I don't have to look at the patterns, I'm probably pretty quick at knotting, but yeah, this pattern requires really keeping an eye on everything. But let's see, I've made So far, I made the version that I have. I made the version that Mandy has, and I made the thick one. Because like if you look over on my website where I did the mod thing, I did where I doubled up the strings. So like that thick one has like a whole different thing going on than these other ones. So that's 3. I guess this makes the 4th time I've done this pattern. Each one has been extremely different. This is probably the closest is to what Mandy got, but Mandy's wrists are super, super tiny. So basically I changed up how many segments and how that one actually works out. So yeah, that one's different still. This was based off of how many knots are in a regular sized bracelet, that I make. I make my bracelets to be kind of able to fit the average wrist, and then make the tassels long enough to fit anybody who's got a bigger wrist. So yeah, hopefully this fits her, because she does have tiny wrists, but I think my sizing actually fits most people. I have small wrists. I'm not a big chunky guy or anything. Little around the middle, but not in the wrists for sure. Okay. So 2 segments down, there's 4 of them in this particular pattern. So we are at the halfway point. And I have absolutely no concept of time, so I don't know where we are with this yet. Okay. There we go. There we go. Now, can do this other side. It feels like such a huge accomplishment when you hit like a whole area like that. Like that's getting that knocked out. It's like, yeah, did a thing. And like, oh, you gotta do it again. Oh no. Still, it's an accomplishment. we go. All the way up into the center. A little hang up on that thread there. And now the little red. So, if you're curious about how my setup is, this is a board that is essentially, it's like cardboard with a bit of like fabric over it, and then they put some sort of like a, I don't know if they like painted it or what, but it's made and sold as being a watercoloring board, and it's really thin. It's like a couple millimeters or like an eighth of an inch thick, so it's really pretty thin. Oh, see, I got excited and made that go off to the side. I need to take away half that knot and send it the other direction. So anyways, so this board of mine is being held onto an easel by 2 clips. And that's what holds it up. That's all it needs to stay in, you know, planted right there in front of me. And then I have this big binder clip that is holding the bracelet in place. Now the big binder clip is pretty old already, and it was starting to get a little bit rusty. I didn't want to throw it out. I found at a store this felt that had a sticky backing to it, so it's made to, like, you can cut out little circles and put them underneath your table so you can slide your table around or do that kind of stuff. And I put it inside of the clip, and that keeps the rusty bit from touching my strings, because obviously, like this, where I'm working with white, if that clip were rusty making contact with it, that could be bad. It could stain my string. So yeah. And this kind of binder clip is really strong at holding things in place. It's awesome. There's like, I have a bunch of clips of various sorts. Some are way more just decorative and aren't as good at holding things in place. So all right, marking off what we've accomplished. Let me get a drink. And we get in to segment number 3. That's weird. It's like it changed, like I changed somehow the direction of what those knots were supposed to do. But yeah, it still works out. Okay. It's that whole trying to get it started after the thing goes again. There we go. Back on track. So if you're still with me, I want to say thank you for hanging out this long. If I've asked you to like comment on anything in general, colors, whatever, be sure to let me know what it is instead of just saying yes or no or I totally agree, because I will have no idea what any of this is later on. I get completely, like, after I'm done with a video, I forget everything I did in the video. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I just know that it's a thing, and yeah, I can't help it. It's just a thing. Okay, so there's the pinks there. Yeah, I'm kind of excited. This is coming along pretty quickly. It's going to be a pretty different sort of video. I've done some making it videos before, and obviously I do a lot of making bracelets during the live streams. So if you're a big fan of watching me do stuff, you can always like play the live stream. There's a whole playlist of stuff that I've made over there. That would be kind of cool. Watch some of the older stuff. We are so far out there with the number of live streams that we've done. It's like 96 or 97 already. Kind of trying to work out what's going to be special for the 100th. I think that should be something special. I have no idea. I haven't got anything planned just yet, but I want to make that a nice one. So hopefully you can join us for that. Yes, already the white strings are feeling like I've used them a lot. I suspect it gets used just a little bit more than what the pink that runs through here is, but the pinks are kind of bouncing around all over the place. So I kind of like interchange them a lot, but the white is definitely getting used a lot for sure. Again, I cut my strings long. I cut 1/3 of a skein, and a skein is like 8 meters, so they're pretty long. I can't do the math. I have no idea what that is. At least not in my head. But yeah, using them really long like that, and then if you cut it to that kind of length and then you do any of my patterns, you're fine. They don't run out before you get to the end, because everything is kind of made to work together. It's a thing. Mind you, I suppose if you're using a different string, a different thickness of floss, that could vary, but I think most flosses is actually like a little bit thinner than what I'm using, so that probably wouldn't be an issue. Okay. So again, we're back to that point of where we do a bit from the left and then we kind of finish down the right in order to prepare for the next one. So and I have gotten ways down here. Kind of get excited and start rushing ahead, and then I'm going to end up making one segment longer than the others, and then yeah, that would mess things up dramatically. Okay. At the end, I'll share what it looks like where I've crossed out all of the stuff that I've already accomplished. It's a mess, but it didn't have to be pretty. It just has to show me where I'm at. So. Oh, so one of the advantages of using this thin board, like I was saying before, is that when it comes to these clips, it's thin enough that, you know, the clip obviously goes on there no problem, but it also allows you to, when you get the bracelet really long, you can roll it over the back, and that way you can keep moving this up further and further and further without any trouble, which is really good, because otherwise you would run into some kind of a problem where you're working so far away from the clip that it just really starts to affect your knots. So yeah, that's a real potential thing there. Like, honestly, when I see some people's work, it starts out really good and then progressively gets worse. It's just you're working further and further from your clip, so you need to bring it up, kind of fold it over the edge, and then reclip it. That was just a good chance for me to go and do what I needed to do and explain it to you guys. Okay, so now this white one comes down. And it comes past the bright pink to the light pink and goes from the right to the left. And then this bright pink comes over top of that. Okay. Lots to cross off again. Okay. I'm going to see if after when I finish this video, if I can take a photograph of it, and maybe I can share that at the end. Hopefully maybe it better shows exactly what this bright pinks and stuff look like, because it really does, like, at least on this monitor, it really does look quite a bit different, and I would really like you guys to see like how pretty this bracelet really is, because it's really kind of cool. I'm not a, you know, super Barbie pink kind of person, but I can appreciate that, you know, this is a thing. Okay. Yeah, kind of talking a little bit about the past, about making bracelets out in public and stuff. If you can imagine that, I was having to come up with patterns and designs. I didn't have a computer to work with it. Like 87, it wasn't even really much in the ways of personal computers yet. Like maybe the Commodore and that kind of thing, but nothing really good for this kind of work. And I was sort of just like coming up with, basically how I did it was I would make up rules like, okay, so it's going to come to here and then turn, and then that'll cause everything else to have to turn, and just whatever, like, so zigzags and arrowheads and various patterns became my normal what I would create with, because I could do it out of my head. I was just making a rule, and then the pattern would come about from that. So yeah, it's I was never back then, back in the 80s, but never doing a pattern nearly this complicated. I just couldn't, I didn't have the imagination for it, I guess. I don't know. It just, this takes a whole lot more to actually pull this off. Yeah, I used to have a carabiner that hung off my clipboard, and the carabiner held all the bracelets I had already made. And people would come along and be like, "Ooh, what are you doing?" Yeah, making bracelets. Oh, are they for sale? Yep. And then get a little dialogue about how I learned and how I go about making these things. And yeah, sold a lot of bracelets that way. Probably wouldn't work in Singapore. People, I've sat in public, various, music venues or whatever, making my knots, and people will kind of look from a distance, but they make it really super clear that they don't want me to talk to them. They're very no. Like I will encourage them. Like if I see somebody that's kind of craning their neck to try to see what's going on, I'll invite them to come over and see, and they'll run away. It's a whole different culture here. So we're almost through with the third segment. This is coming along. It's still taking a better part of an afternoon, but it's, mind you, if I'm going to do more of these making it type videos, I think I would prefer to maybe do the thicker strings, just because they kind of go a little faster. I don't know. Tell me what you think on that one, because like I said, I honestly don't know what the what the general consensus here is, if I'm doing it exactly how I should, or if this is, you know. Okay, where am I at? I just did that, this. Okay. Okay. There we go. So that's where the white comes down for that little kind of nub at the end of the thing. And now the pink does the coming to the center thingy again. As I'm getting further along, I noticed I'm not actually marking off nearly as much as I was before, because I kind of, you know, can see you know, that I'm still on track. I know where I'm at, whatever. So yeah, but I do have to kind of mark it off, because I just really don't want to make a segment too long or something weird. All right. Last one. Oh, we still have to get past the little kick out with the bright red, but it is essentially going into our last segment. Cool. This is kind of just flowing along at this point. Like I'm kind of, by the time I get done with the bracelet, I'm like, you know, kind of know where the turns are coming and kind of, you know, anticipating a little bit better than I was. But then I won't make this pattern again for a while, and it'll, next time I come back to it, it'll be like, huh? Okay. Okay. I think we go ahead and do the little pink zigzag here at the end. That was what was kind of throwing me a little bit off last time. It's a little change, but it'll change up what I have to do later. It also kind of makes it a little bit easier for when I go to mark off what I've accomplished, because I can just go a straight line down from this center little diamond thing here. Cool. Kind of a funny time to suddenly be like, oh yeah, I can make changes to make it easier. Yeah. All right. So much for the right side, now do the left. Kind of feel like I gotta shift this up again. So yeah, obviously, back to the concentration again. Sorry, I get really engrossed in what I'm doing. Forget that I'm got a microphone in front of me. I kind of feel like this could almost be part of like a live stream, because then I would get to interact with you guys. But I kind of like the live streams at a set time and a set whatever, so like people know when they can find me. But this kind of video here is sort of sporadic. It's like a, you know, when I have a project to work on, and you know, it might not work with the schedule kind of thing, like the how the rest of the live streams are. So I'm not kind of I guess these end up staying just as a video, and then I will use your guys' comments and thoughts and stuff as, you know, what to talk about in the next one, because, you know, I never know what to say. I'm kind of ramble about whatever's kind of going through my head, which obviously is a bunch of scattered thoughts. We are almost into that last segment. I'm really excited about that. Oh, and the other bonus is, if this were a live stream, I wouldn't have been able to show you all the pictures of I'm Not a Girl and, you know, all the other things that are being added into these videos. So that is something I do actually really like, is the ability to put in additional imagery and things. So that's a thing too, isn't it? So I was just thinking that by the time when I get finished with this, I still have a whole bunch of editing to do. I have to go track down the imagery and put it all together. So what you don't see is, despite this being a long video, what you don't see is that there's a lot more work that goes into actually making this happen. So not complaining. I actually enjoy it. Except for maybe listening to myself. I'm not a big fan of listening to myself talk. It's not like I think I have a bad voice or something. Like, I'm okay with that. It's just, I don't know. There's just something about listening to yourself that's just not as fun. All right. Okay. So this time, instead of going by memory, I'm going by the pattern. And the pattern is a little bit different because when I did it, I did the top half and then I flipped it, and somehow the differences are there. Like it's just how I solved for the thing is a little bit different, and that's okay. I'm all right with it now that I'm actually paying closer attention, because last time I kind of just went with what I had been doing and then was suddenly like, wait, that doesn't look the same, and then like had to kind of retrace what I had been doing. But now I'm actually following the pattern, and yeah, that's working out fine. And sometimes there's more than one way to get to the same result, and this has been an example of that. And it's cool. I'm okay with that. Okay. Okay, so now we can go back to doing the segment of working on the left side first. Okay. I'm going to have to mark off a bunch of segments again because I'm just kind of chugging along, if you hadn't noticed. I'm actually getting to where like the pattern, like where I'm at on it, is sort of just hitting down at the bottom part of the screen. So I'm going to have to like shift it up as well. But all right. So this is getting really close to the end now. And since we did a little bit more on the left-hand side, it's actually pretty easy to just kind of bring this next bit down again without actually having to do a whole lot. That was pretty cool. So now we do the left-hand side thing again. And then we will have to, or right-hand side again, and then we will have to do a little bit of work on the left to bring down the next area, but that's okay. Okay, definitely need to mark off some of this now. Yeah, not much more. Oh, I didn't realize that we're already past where the last of the actual color red gets used. So it's just those like 3 little sets of dots, which is so... It does not come up again. So there's our little bit of the work on the left, and now we can start bringing it back to the right again. I don't know what these shapes kind of closely represent, like what influenced the artist to actually get them to kind of interlock like this. But I really like it. I think there's something kind of cool about how the white and the pink kind of interlock. Like in my bracelet, it's orange and yellow, but the way that they kind of join together is really neat. Yeah, so much for my thinking of taking a break later on. I think I will take a break from knotting, but I suspect I am going to be diving into trying to make this video a good video. I want her to be kind of, if she does come and watch it, I want her to not cringe, and I want it to be neat, you know. I want her to, you know, have cool imagery and add in all of the different stuff. I think it kind of makes more sense to do it while it's all kind of fresh in my head. because yeah. I wonder if I have pictures of me doing bracelets out in public. I know I don't have any from like the 80s and 90s, but I might have some more recent ones, like here in Singapore. Okay. Wait, what did I just? This one's okay. Yep, we are definitely getting close to the end now. So I definitely want to thank you guys for hanging out. Like, if you made it this long, like, seriously, kudos to you. You guys are definitely helping my channel, if by nothing else, by just watching this much of the video. Because my whole goal in this is not only to teach, but if I get this monetized, I can start doing more giveaways and stuff, which I really want to do. I want to give away so many bracelets that it becomes, you know, a popular thing of culture, like it was like in the late 80s. Like everybody was wearing friendship bracelets at one point. If I single-handedly turn it back into being a thing because I can afford to, that would be amazing. So this is the last long one from the bright pink. Okay, let me mark that off for now. So there we go, the white comes all the way across. This little pink comes over here. that off. So this is kind of the last of the little segments over on the left. Like, we are seriously in the home stretch now. Okay, so now this pink comes down. And now the white. Okay, let me mark off where I've done. That's this one, this one, this one. All right. Bright pink comes in. Now this just does a crazy little zigzag thing. This is how it gets the strings balanced out. And then this pink puts the white back down here. And now I need this one to come down first. It comes all the way down to the bright pink and bounces out. And now this white comes all the way down. And it's going to make that little diamondy thing at the bottom, so it has to come out here and come back. All right, now this one okay, and it gets to this pink, bounces, and then this white comes down, and there's our little diamond, or nub, or whatever you want to call it. It's like the little thing at the very end of it. All right. So this is where the lighter pink kind of closes it all in. do the same thing for the other side. And there we go. That gives us, we're like 2 rows away from being done now. So this pink here comes in, goes back, and it's going to come back again. But it's going to make up the last row. So hang on, let's get we're kind of a ways away from the clip, but I kind of don't feel like moving it again. There's only 2 rows to do. Okay. So it comes out, comes back, and then back to the red, and then back inwards. Pretty crazy. So yeah, you might notice I've stopped marking off the pattern. We're at a point where it's super obvious like what I have to do, so I don't need to do that any longer. So you'll see that I'm going to show you what I did to the pattern over the course of actually making this. So this is it's pretty funny. It's a mess, but it doesn't matter. It served the purpose of letting me see what I was doing, so you know, that's a good thing. There we go. Okay. Last row. All right, here we go, last knot. So I still need to braid this up, but there, that is done. So let's show you what this pattern looks like. So you can see The white lines are what I did use to cross out the bits that as I completed it. So there you go. That's it. And now for the big reveal. This is our bracelet. Hopefully you guys had fun watching me make it. I definitely had some fun making it, and yeah, I'm pretty excited about passing this to her the next time I see her. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, thank you to my Patreon supporters who have made this possible. Couldn't do it without you guys. The cameras, the mic, everything. That's, yeah, I couldn't. So thanks for that, and I'll be back with more videos. And if you like this kind, please let me know, and we can do some more make bracelets with me things. So yeah, and don't get your strings in a bunch.